What's up, Gear Mortals? Trey Xavier here. On today's edition of Gear Gods Quality Control, we're going to be taking a look at the Stevic Mackay from 12 Foot Ninja signature Shuriken Variax guitar from line 6. If you're familiar with the music of 12 Foot Ninja, then you know how frickin' just off the charts unhinged insane it is. They'll go from being a metal band 1 minute to playing mariachi and then reggae all in one song within 10 seconds of each other. So in order to pull something like that off in a live arena, you need a tool that is pretty far from a typical guitar. And so Stevic, the guitarist for 12 Foot Ninja, has this signature Shuriken Variax. Now, the Variax is not new technology. It's been around for a while, but it hasn't been around in this format, that's for sure. So using the available technology in the Variax, Line 6 has created this much more metal, pointy, baritone version specifically for Stevic, and it really complements his crazy playing style, his insane abilities, and his wacky sense of humor. Not only does Stevic use it to create the vast number of instrument changes needed in their set, he also uses it for these crazy off-kilter tunings, like one that's, I think it's like a B and then like 5 E's. I don't know, all kinds of just wacky crap. And you can't do that with a typical guitar at all. So he really needs something like this. And he's come up with a really great carrier for the Variax hardware and software in the Shuriken. It has both a regular 1/4" jack and a network cable jack so that you can connect both directly to the Helix or connect it to your computer and use Workbench HD to configure the patches in the Variax software and hardware. As well as when you use it with the Helix, you can also use the Helix to change the patches on the guitar using only the foot switch, which we'll get into a little bit later. All the sounds that you heard in the demo all came from the Variax Electronics, not the magnetic pickup that's on board. I'll demonstrate that for you a little bit. But I really wanted to get into the Variax sounds because I think they're very exciting and interesting and different from your typical magnetic pickup setup, obviously. So the way that this works is that the Shuriken's bridge has 6 piezo pickups, 1 for each saddle. That allows you to individually adjust both the volume and the sounds on each string and the tuning of each string individually, which is something you can't do with the typical magnetic pickup. This allows you to model dozens of different types of magnetic electric guitar pickups without swapping out any of your electronics. The Workbench HD software that you use to control the Variax components of the guitar is incredibly in-depth and very, very powerful. It takes a little getting used to using, but once you figure out how to use it, you have an incredible degree of control over the sounds that will come out of your guitar. Whether you use your Shuriken with a Helix or one of Line 6's other guitar processing units, or just your amp that you've been using forever, your guitar playing experience is going to be completely different from anything you've ever done before. If you've played a Line 6 Variax before, you may have noticed that most of their models are not really metal oriented. They're not really metal looking. It's not really this kind of thing you'd want to jump up on a stage with a metal band and play. The Shuriken is exactly what the lineup has been missing for a long time. This guitar is metal as all get out. It's a very original body style and shape with this like cool cutaway thing that's very comfortable actually. If you play guitar like I do, like with it kind of resting between your legs like this when you're sitting down, this just fits nicely on your leg like that. It's a 27-inch baritone scale, and I don't think any of the other Variax have that going for it. And then this very cool pointy reversed headstock that is a little reminiscent of my buddy Ola England's signature Washburn guitar, but we'll leave that up to you to decide. I think it looks pretty similar, but it's also reminiscent of the Ibanez reverse RG headstock shape, which I love. I've played a lot of RGs over the years, and I always went for the ones with the reverse headstock. This guitar is quite sturdy. It came set up very well. It's got this dead sexy matte black finish. It's all murdered out, with the exception of the fretboard, which is of course a dark rosewood, but I feel like, especially with the kind of rosewood band that's going on around the world right now, they should consider switching that to ebony just to go that last extra mile to really make the whole thing black as death. Taking a look at the back of the guitar, we've got the battery compartment. It's a proprietary battery that, that you charge using the included charger. That runs the Variax components of the guitar. Now, you don't need to use a battery if you're using a Helix or one of the other guitar processors that allows you to run a network cable, because the network cable will power the Variax components in the guitar. So that's pretty handy. One thing I really liked about the Shuriken is the body contours that we've got going on. Got a nice forearm contour bevel thing, a little cutaway up here for your pinky, and then a nice big belly contour. And all that makes for a much more comfortable playing experience. So now I want to show you a little bit of what you can do with the Shuriken in conjunction with the Helix, because even though you can use any Variax, and the Shuriken especially, by itself without the Helix, with any regular amp, with any kind of modeler, or straight into your computer, if you use the Helix, you can do this cool thing where you associate a patch on the Shuriken in the Helix with a patch, and then you just step on one preset, and not only does it change the patch in the Helix, but it changes the patch and the model and everything in the Variax. That is crazy cool to me. So I'll demonstrate right now. Okay, so like here's my typical rhythm tone. Okay, then I want to go to lead. So not only did it switch to my lead patch that has like a little EQ and a delay on it, and actually it's a completely different amp model, it also switched to a neck pickup sound, and I didn't have to touch anything on the guitar, just on the Helix. Even cooler than that. So just like that, I've got an instant acoustic guitar sound going through nothing but a little bit of compression and reverb. And just like that, we've got a banjo. I don't really play the banjo, so that was kind of hackneyed, but not only is this a banjo sound with sort of a nice banjo-friendly patch on the Helix, I've also got kind of a faux banjo tuning going on here, where I've just muted the bottom two strings entirely, and then bumped the D string up an octave. And then I've got the G and the B regular. And then the E string down a whole step to a D. So it's kind of sort of like a banjo. Like I said, I'm not a banjo expert, but it made it a little handier for that kind of style of playing. And then last but not least, at the touch of a button, we have a sitar. Now I'm going to show you some of the crazy stuff you can do with the controls just on the face of the guitar. Starting with the tuning knob, which is really cool because aside from programming in crazy user tunings, basically whatever you can possibly imagine, up to an octave in either direction from the tuning that you're at. Stuff like 12-string tunings, like parallel string tunings, just whatever your heart can desire. There's also a bunch of stuff like just drop tunings, baritone. So here's standard. And then we're gonna go one down, one half step down, a whole step down. Drop C. Here's a baritone tuning, which I presume is B standard. Drop A. And then this one is a whole octave down from standard. So if your bass player doesn't show up to the gig, you're not screwed. You can just drop it down an octave, and there you go. Now you're a bass. Using the Workbench HD software on your computer and connecting it using the included USB port allows you to customize all of these things and then upload them to the Variax, and then you can access them with these two dials here. You've got 4 user preset banks with 5 patches each, and each of those 5 patches can be accessed using this very familiar looking pickup selector switch. You don't have to set it so that this is the bridge pickup and this is the neck pickup and this is in between like you normally would. You can set them to essentially whatever you want. Like this could be a banjo, this one could be an acoustic guitar tuned to F, open, major, whatever, and etc. If you want to set it up, like if you're really used to a typical setup, you can set it up bridge, neck, whatever, but you can set it up with any pickup that you want, a humbucker or a single coil or like a lipstick tube pickup kind of thing. You can program it however you want, and it's right there, literally accessible at your fingertips. Now I'm going to take you through some of the different model types that are right here on this other knob, starting with T model, which is a Telecaster style. Spank. Lester, which is of course like a Les Paul. Acoustic. Then we've got Jazz, which is like an old-timey jazz hollow body jazz box. This one is called World. Don't know what that is. And then there's Twang. And last but not least, here's the Shuriken's magnetic pickup. Although the Shuriken does not contain any new internal Variax models, it has a ton of features that make it stand out from the rest of the lineup of Variax guitars. And of all the ones that I've tried or seen, this one's definitely the most metal. So if you've been thinking about getting a Variax or trying one out, but you didn't really like them because they're not that metal, the Shuriken is here to save the day. So you can find out more about it on the Line 6 website. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe for more reviews and original content, and I'll see you real soon.